We're rolling.
How are we doing?
How are you doing?
Back again.
Hey, Dave who?
Yeah,
Eh?
exactly.
What's he called?
Hang on, I'm just running over my cable here.
Where you going?
Running over my cable.
He's having a nightmare, is the lad.
Yeah. Well, that all blew over pretty quick, didn't it? All that Dave Grohl business.
Eh?
No one cares anymore.
Old
already.
news.
Old news.
What's new? What's on the news this week?
Moving on.
Eh?
What wasp's nest can we poke this week?
Can we stick our nosy bastard noses in this week?
Well, actually, we're going to be a bit more. We're going to get back to the music.
Back to the music.
But before we do that, just want to mention again our UK November tour, which is in November, funnily enough.
That's what it's called, that, of course.
And it's to promote our new album, Earth to Grace, which is out on the 8th of November. And we'll be touring all around the UK. I probably know these by now because I've had to do umpteen bloody versions of the poster. So we've got Nottingham. I don't think I could tell you the dates. I'm pretty sure that's the 22nd. Then Bristol SWX. Then Southampton, the engine rooms.
Mm-hmm.
Birmingham O2 Institute.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. Glasgow SWG3.
Hell of a name.
Something to do with steel, I think. Something to do with the factory.
Is it?
Yeah, it's like I could be wrong. I usually am. I think it's the code of this type of steel they used to make there.
Oh, there you go. Eh? Somebody will tell us that we're wrong, won't they?
Manchester Ritz. London Shepherd's Bush Empire. And then Dublin, Grand Social, Belfast, Limelight. So
nailed it. Eh?
Nailed it. In
not
one.
A flight, not a note inside.
Not one.
Eh?
I've had to type this out about 50 times. So
Terry's been hammering that into our brains for the last few months.
I should know it by now. But yeah, go grab a ticket.
Grab one.
Tickets are getting pretty low for the Ritz in Manchester.
Mm-hmm.
Bristol's doing really well, and as is Rock City, which is looking like it's going to be. It's between that one and Manchester, which is going to be the biggest headline show we've done
so
to
far,
date,
yeah.
really.
And Bristol is Belfast is another one. That's
Belfast
really
is
selling,
running low as well.
It's really selling well. Isn't it?
So if you fancy it, don't delay.
Don't delay.
Playing songs old and new.
Go and get a ticket today.
Nice.
Hey!
A little jingle.
We need to talk about. We need to have a discussion about the set. Actually,
What songs are we going to play?
It's a tough one, isn't it, for tours? Because I mean, we play like festivals, or you play like an odd show here and there. And we can throw together a set list in not a lot of time, can't we? But when it's a new album tour, a headline tour, it's a bit more of a big deal, and it has to be a bit more care gone into it, and a bit to be
Yeah. You're introducing 4 or 9
new songs.
9 new songs. Well, last time we did on the Triggered album, we went out, and I think there was about 8 or 9 new songs in the set.
Yeah.
Which at the time didn't feel like that big of a deal. But then every album you do, there's certain songs that come up and you're like, oh, we can't not play that.
I know, yeah. I know.
So your margin of like what sort of becomes a bit flexible gets smaller and smaller.
Plus, we've been playing a few of them for a few months now, on over the summer, haven't we? So there's sort of 3 or 4 that have been played regular. So you feel like, well, they're pretty tight, so they need to go in the set, really. For me, it's that balancing act between being AC/DC and being a band that maybe play too much new stuff. It's you've got to hit the mark, haven't you?
You're right. Yeah, I mean,
I don't want to play the same songs over and over again.
No, well, this is
which is boring, isn't it?
Well, maybe that's what we could talk about instead of what we were going to talk about. Maybe we've stumbled onto a much more suitable topic.
I don't know.
Yeah, balls to it. Let's talk about that then.
Well, all right, okay, right, yeah.
Well, you make a great point about AC/DC.
I'm not. Yeah, I mean, they are what they are. I mean, I'm not slagging them off for that, but that's kind of the running joke, isn't it, with them? They've been playing the same set for
the same 20 songs with 2 or 3 off the new album
for the last 30 years.
Although I believe the last couple of tours they've done, like I know the one they did with Axl Rose, which I still can't believe happened.
Bonkers, ain't it?
It is mad. It's like
bonkers,
that actually happened. It's like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think Axl Rose.
I know, Axl Rose, yeah.
But by all accounts, it was amazing, wasn't it?
But but you couldn't think of a front man in terms of personality who's more different to Brian Johnson, Brian Johnson, northern working class, English bloke. Well,
I've always felt that I've never been to Australia, and I don't know many Australians, but I always felt, the Australians are, you know, we share. We have this love-hate relationship. That they call us this, we call them that. There's this rivalry in cricket and rugby and whatnot. But I think we share a lot of the same working class, blue collar type, you know, like grounded sort of working class people. You know, and I think that's why AC/DC are. But and Axl Rose has been a super mega star from a young age, and it's always been a bit more show, hasn't it? You know, a bit more about. Bit more glam, a bit more this, you know.
Well, just on the personal level, really, you know, the way he's conducted himself off the stage.
Well, there is that. Yeah,
is probably just as, you know, he's just as infamous for that as he is for his singing.
Was my AC/DC timelines fall to fuck pot really? Was Malcolm still alive when Axl did that?
I don't think he was. You know,
I don't think Malcolm would have. Do you think Malcolm would have gone for that? I don't think. Do you think who run? I mean, Malcolm ran the show, really, didn't he?
I think. Yeah,
I think that's the impression I got anyway.
Reading between the lines, but then I think as his sort of condition deteriorated, I think it did become more Angus's thing.
Right.
But yeah, that you know, yeah. Cause when did Malcolm?
Do you know what, mate? I can't remember.
I'm pretty sure it was before. It was before that.
Yeah.
You know, and then Brian Johnson had, and then they did
It was, yeah.
They did the tour.
It was, wasn't it?
And then Brian Johnson had these hearing issues or whatever, and then
that's right.
And then that's when that happened. So,
but yeah, no, everyone I spoke to, there was like uproar about it, wasn't there? Really, and then a lot of people I've spoken to kept their tickets. Some sent them back. You know, I'm not seeing that. I don't want to see that. Then people were kept their tickets and were like, I'm so glad I went because it was brilliant. But you can't imagine. I love the fact that Angus is so. Again, I've never met him and I don't know him, but you know, his character is a short. A short, skinny Australian bloke. Yeah, he has this sort of not a temper, but an authority.
It does seem to be, like,
you know, everyone he says jump and everyone says "oh fucking aye." Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, businessman first, and isn't almost like it's a business. He's a businessman, really. That's what it's all about, you know. All the schoolboy outfits and everything. It was.
Yeah, and I can imagine, you know, Axl Rose has been used to getting his way all that time, and suddenly he's like, yes, Mr. Young.
Yeah, exactly. Well, there's probably not a lot of bands out there that someone like Axl Rose and a character and an ego that big would have, you know, fallen into line for. No. You know,
he must love him. It must be in his heart. He must be a big AC/DC fan, and it's a pleasure to be part of that. He must have thought, this is a real. I am really happy about this. I am not. He probably didn't want to be the boss. Tell me where you want me to be, mate.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's other than the, you know, hard to sing, but an easy gig in terms of just front a band who's playing stadiums all around the world, and they're all going to be sold out. You know,
no brainer, innit? No
fair
brainer.
Enough. But yeah, the set list, I think, for AC/DC was quite radically different on those shows, and that maybe suggests that because the songs that Brian Johnson didn't want to do or couldn't do or whatever. But yeah, they are a classic example of a band, and there's the other 4-lettered band that we always mention on this podcast.
Oh, yeah.
I imagine they're very similar.
Well, they've only got about 4 songs.
Well,
so
yeah,
you've got to fill it out.
I'm not gonna slag them off, but you know, there's other bands out there that, you know, you must know what songs you're gonna get. Having said that, when we went to watch them, the band that shall not be named, they didn't play one of the songs. They didn't play one of those 4 songs.
They didn't know. I wasn't particularly waiting for any of them, to be honest, but I was expecting that, and I thought they're going to play it last.
Encore,
it's going to be the encore song, and they never played it, and I couldn't believe it. Well, it's a cover, that, isn't it? That's your man, isn't it?
I don't think they. Oh yeah,
Russ Ballard.
It's
one of his songs, isn't it? His version's better, anyway.
Yeah. Well, he's made him a lot of money. He made old Russ.
He wrote. Well, he's a hell of a songwriter. He's a prolific songwriter, isn't he? Didn't he write Since You've Been Gone?
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
and a few of the big.
Russ Ballard. I think he wrote some. Oh no, that was Desmond Child. I was going to say he's the other sort of big songwriter. Yeah. Wrote a lot for like Bon Jovi and. Yeah, he wrote a bunch of Rainbow stuff. I think he wrote I Surrender as well. And
fucking hell! Wow.
Maybe All Night Long. I'm not sure.
I wonder how that would work then. I mean, I wonder how that would work with somebody like Richie Blackmore. I mean, I don't know any of these people. I'm only assuming based on what I read and stuff. I would have thought Blackmore would have been I don't know. Would he? I would never. I could never imagine him co-writing songs like that. Do you know what I mean? I mean, it must be He's quite a. He knows what he wants, and he's a force of nature. I mean, I'm sure he loves writing with people. Maybe that's the side of him that nobody knows about, really. I don't know the relationship between him and a co-songwriter. Do you know what I mean?
I don't know really, but at that point, he wanted to be a pop. You know, it sounded like they wanted the band to be a pop band. You know, and
so maybe that's why he.
So I don't think he cared really. You know,
no, that's quite well documented, isn't it? That he turned away from. Well, Dio went, didn't he? We've had a disaster. Weird. It happens. It happens to the best. It happens to the best.
Technical error there. We'll jump into that mid sentence like it never happened. Yeah. Well, I mean, Richie Blackmore, he was ahead of the curve there because in a couple of years, you know, they were all doing that.
Yeah, they were
that AOR kind of style of music.
Yeah, I never thought. I never even crossed my mind, to be honest. Probably because, as much as you like to fucking joke about my age, I wasn't around then. You know, but yeah, looking back, yeah, you're right. It was a few years later. They were all dressing in bloody white pants and bloody
sunshades
and short hair. And you think it's nothing nowadays, but back then, yeah, I imagine Graham Bonnet was a real like. I bet a lot of people are like, what the fucking hell? Yeah. What's he playing at? Where's Dio gone? Yeah, you know, this like little fellow, the ultimate rock and roll heavy metal guy, and then Graham Bonnet turns up in his
crazy, isn't it?
In his loafers.
Yep.
And his mirrored aviators, and then opens his mouth, and then it's like, friggin' hell,
yeah, big voice,
But
then you look at the set list from like those that you know, like them Rainbow gigs in the like 80s and whatever. Very very little Dio stuff. You know, there was no.
Right, did they not?
No Man on the Silver Mountain or anything like that. You know, they just.
I never thought of that. I never thought to ask that question before. You'd probably know. Like, did Wood Bonnet have ever sung those?
I think he would have done. He'd
have
probably done Long Live Rock and Roll, and
never really thought about it, to be honest.
Then again, you look at the live set list of those gigs, and there's about 5 songs, isn't there? It's
fucking hell.
Yeah, it's like
first album I ever bought myself was Rainbow Rising, I think. It was either that or Bad. I think it was Rising from a car boot sale, and listened to it non-stop, and it was like a double album with 5 songs on it. So I just thought that's what it was.
Yeah.
I just thought it was normal.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But what a group of songs they are on that album. It's just amazing.
So yeah, like set lists, the sort of I saw this in like I follow Muse, you know, a bit, and they change their style every album, you know, like. You know, there'll be a real electronic influence on the latest stuff. Whether you like it or not, that it doesn't affect them because they're still selling out stadiums everywhere. But they'll do their thing. But then you're like, how are they going to play this? You know, and then play Stockholm Syndrome at the same time. But they do, and it just seems to work. You know, they're an odd band really, where they can sort of blend all these different ways of playing and.
They strike me as a band, or he certainly strikes me as a guy that doesn't want it easy.
No.
He wants it to be a challenge because that's what makes it exciting and interesting, and he's fully aware that he's going to lose fans, he's going to gain fans, and if he can challenge himself and push himself, then that's what's going to get the best out of him, innit?
Yeah.
You know, and that's the way to be, innit, I think.
Absolutely. I mean, Stephen Wilson, I'm a big fan of Stephen Wilson, and been to see him 3 times. I saw him 3 times on the same tour, actually, which is all 3 different tours, but they were all part of the same album on the Hand Cannot Erase album, and there were 3 different guitarists as well. So first one was Guthrie Govan, second one was
rate him, really.
Dave Kilminster. Actually, I'm lying. I saw him twice with Dave Kilminster, so with 2 guitarists, but the set list was different every single time.
Right.
So they played like the first one, it was like they played the entire album that they were promoting and then a bunch of other stuff. The second time it was quite a lot of the album, but it wasn't all of it, and then some other stuff. And then the third time I saw him, it was just random things, but just amazing. Like as a fan, from a fan's point of view, you know, to go and see so many different songs and for it to genuinely be like, I don't know what I'm going to hear tonight, you know.
Do you think the style of music a band puts out determines what you can get away with. Do you know what I mean? Because I don't want to sound like a wanker, but your Stephen Wilson fans are very, strike me as very much nerdier.
Anoraks. Yeah.
I don't, not in a bad way, in a good way. I'm only jealous of that devotion to something, but you're happy to hear a night full of B-sides, whereas your average,
absolutely, I think it is. I think it's the type
fan doesn't want to hear fucking B-sides.
It's the type of fan rather than the type of band, but inevitably a certain type of band. Checking we're still working. Inevitably, a type of band is going to create a certain type of, or attract a certain type of fan, isn't it?
Certainly.
Let's be honest. And me, basically.
Hello. What did Rush? What were they like with their sets when they were like, we're talking, yeah? What were they like with their set? Did they keep a handful of the same ones, or?
Well, yeah. I mean, the very first time I saw him, which was back in 2007, and it was Snakes and Arrows tour, and I think it was the first or second time they've been here for like 20 years. Like the last time they were there before that was like in the 80s, and I was taken. My dad took me, and I knew 2112 or the first bit of it, and I knew
you didn't know the other 50 minutes,
Limelight or something, and on the Spirit of Radio. I don't think they played any of them, but it was still amazing, still incredible.
It's brave not to play those songs, isn't it?
Well, they played a band like that. Again, tends to be proggy type bands. Play like 3 hours, so 2 hour-and-a-half sets. No support band or anything.
No.
They can cram a lot in, but when you've got a 20 album back catalogue, it's just still only scratching the surface of.
Gotta be honest, I really admire a band that. I mean, I could. Well, unless I was banging into them, I could. 3 hours is a long fucking time to watch a band, isn't it? But not from the perspective of a fan anyway. But from them to perform on stage for that long every night is a staggering feat.
Yeah, it is,
isn't it? Well, staggering. Not only on his voice singing, but just being tight and being good and playing. When you're playing 4 songs.
Yeah, well, it's
not being army. Playing like 25 songs or whatever. It's unbelievable.
It is quite like they. I think Neil Peart did talk about this a lot. It was like getting ready for tours. It was like training for marathons, and it was destroying his body, like having to drum like that, no compromising, didn't change anything. This was stuff that he wrote in his 20s. And he's back out in his 50s and whatever, and he's still playing it the same way. It's it's hard, but that's the challenge, isn't it?
I can only imagine what their run-ups, their rehearsals will have been like.
Yeah, well, that's
months of rehearsals.
You do that, don't you?
Yeah.
And reading Geddy Lee's book as well, he's very candid about that. He's like, absolutely shit. They'll finish a tour, go away, not really do much for a year or two, come back, and they would just be like. Absolutely back at square one, like they'd just be so untight,
Really?
It's just like any band, really, You don't do it, and then you come back and you're rusty. And
I suppose, I'm not comparing us to Rush or anything, but on a different level, we haven't scaled those heights. Have we as a band? Yeah. but because we play all the time, because we have to play all the time, we've never in the last 15 years we've never really. I don't think we've ever really fallen below a level in terms of tightness, have we? Really, and playing. We've never had a year and a half off or a year off, have we? We'd play every month. There's at least a gig, isn't there? For 15 years.
Even COVID, other than the first sort of, I think like 3 or 4 months when it was like the lockdowns were really strict, but then we were able to, for work purposes, because this is work, to do like live streams and all that kind of stuff. So it does help when you keep your hand in. But yeah, that's the other thing. Like, so if your set list is full of completely new songs, and then it's going to be, rehearse all you want, and you're definitely giving yourself the edge. But until you've played it live, without a net, so to speak.
Yeah, it never. That truly gives you the confidence for the next night, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Once you've got it out of the way once live, it's like I find it's a psychological thing. Yeah, you can play it live in here umpteen times, but until you have played it for people, your brain then goes, right, we can take that one off. That's all right for the rest of the tour now. That's
exactly. Yeah.
Nailed it. It is bizarre. Yeah. I mean, at times I practice songs at home, sing them and sing them and sing them and sing them, and then I'm like, I've got this nailed. Then you come in here and I'm like, it's like a subconscious pressure, isn't it? That you're like, oh, don't mess it up.
A subconscious pressure, and I also think the longer you do this, you do just become a little bit more complacent. It's a real effort to focus 100%, on especially on the songs that you've been doing for so long.
Well, practicing is boring as fuck, isn't it?
Yeah,
let's not shatter that illusion straight away. When you get on stage, at the moment anyway, for me, it's still exciting. It's still good. It's still right. This needs to be good, and the pressure is there, and that's a good pressure. And but when you're in the fucking practice room, it's like fucking hell. It's woeful, isn't it?
It is. Yeah.
That's why songwriting's the best bit, isn't it? Because
it's all fresh and
you're being creative.
Mm-hmm.
It's like let's run over these songs that we've played 4 billion times. Oh, I can't believe this.
Yeah. And then once you the band know you can do them, you still have to do it for other parts of the production. So if you're using videos and lights and whatever, that's all got to be synchronized. You're rehearsing the songs for their benefit, not just yours. That's when you really have to dig deep.
And you feel like it's a double-edged sword, really, because you feel like, or I feel like, you're sucking the life out of your performance somewhat, but you need it for the growth of the band and to be have a better show and to be bigger and
But having said that, I do now, because now we're playing in the UK, all those venues I mentioned earlier. The sizable kind of venues with your 1,000 to 2,000 people you're playing to.
Hopefully,
I do get a little bit of a kick out of that, and knowing that. Well, no, I know we've played this a million times, but there really is nothing like the confidence of going in and knowing that you are good and you're going to nail it. So
you can't beat. For me, you can't beat hometown shows. You can't beat where this tour is going to be rocking. The last tour, the last tour we did was absolutely bouncing. It was amazing. I mean, we've gone out to Europe a lot this summer and playing a lot of these songs, and it's been amazing. But you are playing to, a lot of the time, you're playing to sort of 90% new people, and the songs, a lot of them don't know the music. It hasn't clicked. It doesn't really mean anything to them. You're trying to make them have it. Which is a good thing to be able to be on stage and to get the opportunity to do that. But then when you come home and you're getting a venue where you get with 1,000 people that know the songs and like the songs and are there to see you,
half of them are, and the other half have been dragged along by the other halves.
But you can't beat that, can you? You play a song and people start bouncing up and down or dancing, singing. It's just like you can't beat that, man. It's just the best feeling in the world, really.
Yeah, definitely.
Them anyway.
So yeah. Well, that's the other thing you've got to consider as well with set lists. You've got to think about territories. You got to like certain songs. Like in Germany, there's a couple of songs over there that have been on the radio a lot. Well, that you couldn't play on the radio here for starters, because generally they've got swearing in. But over there, it's not such a problem. And they are really banging into these songs that I don't know. It's a culture thing. It just must be a culture that you just haven't taken off over here.
Yeah.
But for some reason they just click.
It's weird, isn't it? Again, over a few years, I remember us playing festivals a couple of years ago, and there's a couple of songs on the radio, and there was a visible difference, notable difference in the crowd when you play a song. You've been playing 4 or 5 songs and they're going down all right, and then you play one song, and it's like everyone goes, "Oh, it's that band!"
Yeah,
innit? And it's like, suddenly everyone's on your side, aren't they? It's cool, yeah.
Well,
you got to have them songs in, really.
Well, it's going back to Rush as well. Sorry, but they did a DVD Rush in Rio, where they went and played in Rio de Janeiro. They did like some gigs in Brazil and Argentina for the first time in their career,
right?
And they had no idea how big they were there, because I think a lot of the music is just downloaded, streamed. So they've got no data, to sort of say, "Oh, you've sold this many albums there." But they go and they play stadiums, and they were there, and they were just doing the tour. They were just doing the set that they've been doing the whole tour. And some local, the promoter was like, "You've got to play Closer to the Heart. You've got to play that. It's like an anthem here. It's like a football anthem."
Wow, right.
And they were like, "Oh, we haven't played it. We haven't been playing it on this tour." And this is all like, and they sort of say like, without rehearsing it, they haven't played it in a long time.
Wow, isn't that weird?
And they'll be like, we'll play this, and don't get mad if it's not
not
any good. So things like that. That's
amazing.
Cool,
They played it, I'm assuming.
Yeah, they played it. Yeah,
That's pretty cool. That.
but there are loads of examples. I'd imagine of bands having a sort of micro hit in all these different places that they've got to factor that in. Make sure it's in. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a weird one, isn't it? It's a weird one, the old set list. Let us know what you think. What do you want to see from a band? I mean, do you want to see a mix, or do you want to see just the hits? Do you want to hear? Are you disappointed when? I mean, I like it when people go away, and I know we haven't played a couple, maybe some that maybe we should have played that are, for us, one of our bigger tracks, whatever. But then people go away and then they'd never mention it, and it's not mentioned. That's great. That I like that. People say, "Oh, I've got a great night. What an ace night!" And it's like, yeah, well, we got away. We didn't play Ratio. We didn't play Nails. We didn't play Back to the Stack. But people still went away, and the response has been great.
Yeah,
it's nice. That's really satisfying. That's really good.
I think really from a band's point of view, you want people to just go away wanting to come again.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So, but it's a double-edged sword, isn't it? Because for the reasons we said before about AC/DC, as an example, what you're going to get with them is exactly the reason why I probably wouldn't put my hand in my pocket again to go and see them, because I've seen it a few times and it will only be the same with just more grey hair. So, I'm not into that.
The only way I'd go and watch AC/DC again, I think, would be as if it was in a different venue. If for some strange reason they decided to do like an Apollo,
the Alhambra,
the Alhambra, yeah, I would go if I could get tickets, which I probably fucking couldn't. But the stadiums don't do anything for me; they're awful places.
No, you're in a different ballpark, aren't you?
Yeah.
But then there's other bands, tend to be on the proggy side of things, that if they were just playing the same songs over and over again, they'd alienate most of their audience for the opposite reason. They'd be like, well, I'm not going because they're not going to play all these songs. I want to hear random
some obscure
stuff,
weirdo shit. Yeah. It's a tough one.
Obscure weirdo shit.
Well, you know what I mean. But yeah, it's a tough one, isn't it? Yeah, we've got this to come, really. But there's nothing bad about it. It's exciting. It's good. It's just getting the balance. Everyone in the band wants to play a different song, don't they? As well. It's like, we got to play that. Can we play that? Can we play this? And you try and accommodate everything and play a bit of older stuff off other albums. You got to consider that as well. Stuff off other albums. Maybe stuff off Full Nelson we haven't played for years and years. It's like, can we get one of them in, or an early one, or Fire It Up, or Fight the System, or something? Can we get one of them in, or should we put one in? I mean, I think we did Book on the last tour. And I wasn't convinced it went down too well. Did you feel the same?
It fell a bit flat, yeah.
But I don't know if that was because of the song or because of the way it was in the set, or because the songs have sort of come on along, the different style, and it just kind of fell a bit flat.
There'd have been 5% of the audience, I'd imagine, that would have been really into that. But yeah, that was an example of, we tried to do something a bit different, and we've learned from the experience, and now we know that
we're never going to play it ever again.
It's just there was a bit more of a reason for that one, though, because we just reissued that very first album, so there was some tenuous kind of
reason to play
reason to do it. But
you do like to give people who've made the effort to come out to see you a different experience, don't you? Like you say, you do want it to be special, if you like. It's like you want people to go away and go, wow, they played. Because I remember a few years ago we played The Day We Fell on one of the tours a few years ago, and we hadn't played that for years, and we were like, got to get The Day We Fell in because people like it, and we haven't played it for about 3 years, and that went down really well. People went away going, yes, they played that song. It was good. That's nice to see, nice to hear. Yeah. It's just picking the songs, isn't it?
What will be a unique set list for us anyway is this weekend we'll be playing the Patreon Bash, which is like an annual private show for our Patreon supporters, and that set list is basically this. I'm explaining to these folks what it is, Baz. It's it's basically a voted for set list, and this year we've done it into chunks of like, these are the standards, so vote for some standards. When I say standards, I mean like the songs that are regularly in the live set anyway. Pick 5 or 6 of them. Then there's ones that have absolutely never been played. Pick a few of them. And then there's like some older stuff, so pick some of them. And this way you guarantee a very unique set list. Yeah. So that's what we're doing this weekend. So we put, if you're a Patreon supporter, you'll be seeing some songs that have never been played live before, which I think is cool. You know, I know I harp on about the same old bands, but Marillion, they have the Marillion weekends where they do something very similar. I don't think it's voted for, but they'll pick an album from their catalogue, play the whole thing, and then another night of that weekend, you know, they'll basically book out like a Haven or something.
Yeah, right.
You know, a bit like Hard Rock Hell and Hammerfest used to
And
do.
have like a weekender.
Just have a weekender.
Amazing. Yeah. I see, turn the subject slightly, I see Magnum have announced they're going...
Have they?
Yeah, they're going back out on tour. I think it's a celebration of your man's life, really.
Tony Clark.
Tony Clark, yeah. What they call it? They got the name. I'm not up on a lot of Magnum stuff, to be honest. But the way they announced it, I think it was like the name of an album or a song or something to do with him or something. It sounded really tasteful and really good. Anyway, it's like
That's interesting because, well, yeah. I mean, I know Bob Catley did say we can't do it. Basically, Tony was Magnum, so we won't be doing anything really.
I don't know who the guitar player will be then. That'd be interesting, wouldn't it? I'm sure I heard it on Planet Rock yesterday because I just remember thinking, oh right, wow, amazing.
No,
Yeah,
well,
fair play.
that's all right. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, anyway, there you go. Magnum news.
Magnum news.
For all your up-to-date Magnum
Well,
news.
you're up to date Magnum news. Yeah.
Well, nearly semi-up-to-date.
I could just go for a Magnum. I know.
Oh, white chocolate Magnum.
White chocolate Magnum. Yeah.
Lovely.
Let us know white or dark chocolate.
What's your favourite Magnum ice cream?
They do like a caramel-y kind of one as well.
And I'm not really a fan of caramel.
No.
It's a bit, I don't know. I do, but Europe seem to do better ice creams than already, don't they? Do you notice?
Yeah, they
The
do.
Cornettos, everything just seems to be.
We should bloody know because at every service stop there's a. Everyone's got a bloody different ice cream on the go.
I don't know. Yeah, I've never eaten ice creams very often except when I'm in Germany. Maybe it's because they're nice. Or France, they just seem to be nicer ice cream, don't it?
France do good. I'll say this of France: they've got great service stations.
They do have great service
clean.
stations. Yeah.
You don't have to pay for the toilet. Looking at you, Germany. Good food.
Roy doesn't play at the German ones.
Oh, I don't know.
He's a right deviant. He's like this, isn't he?
You get bollocked.
And he's under the flipping
if you get
barrier.
caught, you get a real stern
You get your willy pulled
bollocking.
off. Somebody in there like,
I didn't realise.
Yeah. Or was that just me?
Maybe. I was going to say. Hey, I don't think that was a.
That's part of the
That
terms.
wasn't an attendant. He never worked there,
I
Baz.
wondered why he was wearing a duffel coat. Oh dear.
Right. Anyway, yeah, we'll leave it at that. It was kind of derailed. That wasn't what we were going to
German
talk about.
toilet news.
But anyway, we had another subject in mind for this one, but we'll save it for another week.
Save it for next week, eh?
Cheers.
Oh well.
See you later.
Rocking.